But as she was unpacking, she noticed something strange. A small note tucked inside one of the cartons. Curious, Bimbo picked it up. As her hand brushed against the paper, she felt a sudden prick. She looked down to see a small drop of blood on her finger. The tiny pin had pricked her as she grabbed the note. She frowned. Irritated, who would carelessly put a pin here? She muttered as she removed the pin. She went to the bathroom to clean the blood off her hand, then returned to the note. As she unfolded the paper, she opened the note and she read the words out loud. The queen of the deed. Done deal. Bimbo didn't know why, but when she said the words, something about it felt strange. It wasn't a phrase she had expected to see, and it sounded almost ancient. She didn't think much about it and tossed the note aside, continuing with her work. Meanwhile, in a dark, secretive place that resembled a factory, a ugly looking creature stood in the shadows. Its eyes glowed a bright, unnatural shade of green, and a smile slowly spread across its face as it whispered to itself. The moment Bimbo had read those words, her deal had been sealed. The demon's fingers curled around her blackened amulet, and a deep satisfaction filled it. It's done. She had completed the pact. The demon stepped into the shadows, its presence dark and ominous. The deal was now in motion, and there was no turning back. Bimbo, unaware of all of this, continued unboxing the wigs with excitement. She was so happy with the quality and the varieties of colors she had received. She couldn't believe how much more she got than she had expected. They were wigs of all types, in so many beautiful colors. She carefully examined each one, putting the best ones on the wig stands. Bimbo smiled as she tried on a few wigs herself. The long silk styles looked stunning on her. She couldn't wait to show them off in her videos. As she placed the wigs on the stands, she took a moment to admire her work. The room was filled with beautiful wigs, all ready to be sold. But after a while, she realized she couldn't sort through all of them in one go. She was exhausted. She decided to leave the rest for another time. With a sigh, she gathered the wigs she had finished sorting and placed them carefully in her storeroom. The next morning, Bimbo woke up and began sorting the wigs again. She felt a little bit better after some rest. She made sure everything was organized. After she was finished, she decided to make a few videos to showcase the new products. She turned on the camera, adjusted the lighting, and began her usual routine of demonstrating the wigs, talking about the quality and styles. After shooting the videos, she edited them and made a few posts across her socials. It was already evening. After eating, she decided to rest. After taking a brief rest, Bimbo woke up feeling a bit better. The exhaustion from the day before had faded. The first thing she always did when she woke up was check her phone. It had become second nature. She had automated some of her messages, but as a businesswoman, her mind always went straight to her phone. She unlocked her phone, ready to check her messages, but what she saw next shocked her. One of the videos she had posted just before going to bed had gone viral. It was everywhere. The video had reached more than 100 million views and was still counting. She could barely believe her eyes. She never knew there was something like 100 million views. The phone was flooded with messages, over 200 of them. Her phone had become so bombarded that it was almost impossible to keep up with. Bimbo sat up, staring at the screen, her heart racing. She didn't know whether to scream, cry, or laugh. She was confused, unsure of what to feel. Her hands trembled as she dropped the phone onto the bed. The numbers seemed too big to comprehend. The video had gone viral, and she had no idea how to process this massive turn of events. After taking a few deep breaths, To calm herself, Bimbo picked up her phone again and started replying to the messages. The phone was non-stop buzzing and she could barely keep up. To her surprise, the customers didn't even hesitate when it came to the prices. Whatever she quoted, they paid. No questions, no complaints. The money was rolling in so quickly that it felt like water flowing through her hands. In just a few hours, she had made millions, real money that she had only dreamed of. She could hardly believe it. Her business was skyrocketing and everything was happening so fast. She was overwhelmed, but in the best way possible. By the end of the day, she had prepared over 50 orders. She realized that the orders were coming in so quickly that she couldn't handle it on her own anymore. She needed help. Bimbo immediately posted on her social media platform, letting her followers know that she was looking for an assistant. In the meantime, she continued taking care of the orders she could manage. People were coming into her apartment buying wigs directly from her. Bimbo had set up CCTV cameras in her house to ensure there was no thefts, and it made her feel more secure. Sales were booming, and her apartment had become a mini boutique. By the time night fell, she had taken a few more orders. She felt both exhausted and exhilarated. The next day was even more stressful as the sales continued to flood in. She was making money faster than she had ever imagined, but it was a lot to handle on her own. Within a few days, Bimbo had interviewed several candidates for the assistant position. She chose the one who seemed the more reliable and eager to work. With her new assistant on board, things started to run a bit more smoothly. They worked together to pack the wigs, process orders, and keep the business organized. In just 1 week, Bimbo had sold out everything. She couldn't believe how fast her business had grown. Bimbo's customers bought wigs in bulk. She didn't understand fully why they were buying in bulk, but she was grateful for the sales and the attention. She picked up her phone and called the woman who had been supplying her. She was excited and thankful. "Thank you so much for everything," Bimbo said, her voice full of joy. "My business is doing so well. You've been amazing with the deliveries." On the other end of the line, the woman smiled. "I'm happy to hear that you're doing well," she replied, keeping her tone professional. "I knew you would come back." Bimbo didn't think much of it. She figured the woman was just being polite, or maybe wasn't the most expressive person. "Yes, I am really happy with everything," Bimbo said, still filled with gratitude. The woman continued with a calm voice. "Well, I'm glad to help. I knew you would succeed and I'm here to support you." Though Bimbo didn't fully understand the weight of the woman's words, she felt reassured. She ordered more stock. Last time she had spent around 5 million naira, but this time she spent a whopping 20 million. The demand was higher than ever, and customers had already booked weeks in advance. She didn't want to disappoint them, so she stocked up even more. True to form, the woman kept her promise. The delivery came quickly, as it has always done within a week. Bimbo's new stock had arrived. Bimbo and her assistant worked hard to unpack the wigs. The task was so exhausting that the both ended up falling asleep on the floor, surrounded by the boxes. It was a long night, but they were determined to get through it. The next morning, they woke up tired, but still with a lot to do. Bimbo's assistant had nothing to wear since she had spent the night at Bimbo's place, so Bimbo kindly gave her one of her own outfits to change into. Bimbo was always generous and welcoming, and her assistant appreciated her kindness. After refreshing up, they got back to work. They continued unpacking the wigs, sorting through the orders that had been placed by customers. It was a busy day, and soon they were making deliveries, sending out packages to customers who had already paid for their wigs. Bimbo's apartment, which had once been quiet, was now bustling with activity. More and more customers came to buy, and the orders kept coming in. Bimbo was booming, and Bimbo couldn't believe how fast everything had changed. What started as a small business had turned into something much bigger overnight. But with the success came more responsibility, and Bimbo knew she had to keep working hard to maintain it. As business continued to grow, Bimbo sat down in one corner of her apartment one day, feeling a mix of exhaustion and excitement. Her eyes wandered around the room, which was now filled with so many customers, boxes, and wigs. It was busy, too busy for just her and her assistants to handle. They were making mistakes because there was too much to do and not enough hands. Bimbo knew something had to change. She took a deep breath and decided it was time to find a new place, a real shop where she could expand her business and serve more customers and have some privacy in her house. It was getting too overwhelming for her. She started reaching out to agents to help her find a store to rent. After some time, one of the agents came back with a surprising offer. The agent told Bimbo about a new location that was perfect for her wig and business. It was a great place, but there was one condition. She would have to buy the land and the building. The building wasn't fully finished, but it was almost done, and she would just need to make some final touches and even get the chance to customize it as much as she wants. The agent explained that even if she didn't want to use the land for a shop in the future, she could always sell it or rent it out. He reassured her it was a good investment. After thinking and a lot of convincing, Bimbo agreed. She was in a good financial position, and if she didn't buy it now, she might lose the opportunity. So she bought the land and the building. The paperwork was done, and within 3 months, everything was set. The construction was finished, and Bimbo moved into her new boutique. With the help of her assistant, she made sure the space was set up exactly how she wanted. She was so proud of what she had achieved. Now it was time to give her business a name. After thinking for a while, she decided to call it Bimbo's Wig World. It felt right. It was personal and professional, and it reflected everything she had worked hard to build. She quickly updated social media pages for her new store and opened a new website for her business. She gained thousands of followers, and people were engaging with her posts like never before. The excitement was overwhelming, and she couldn't believe how fast everything was happening. The growth of her business was amazing. As the days went by, Bimbo hired more workers to help her handle the increased demand. She hired cleaners. Bimbo couldn't be happier. She was living her dream, and the success of her brand was growing faster than ever expected. She smiled to herself, knowing that all her hard work had paid off. She was the happiest person in the world, grateful for every moment of her journey. But with all the success came the pressure. One day, after an extremely tiring day at the office, Bimbo went home to rest. She was exhausted, both physically and mentally. She was so tired that all she wanted was to sleep and let her body rest. She got into her bed, closed her eyes, and drifted off to sleep. In her dream, Bimbo found herself walking with a heavy feeling on her body. She could feel the weight on her shoulders. Her body felt so tired, as if she was carrying a very big load. She started to feel the pressure on her head, like something heavy was resting on it. Her shoulders were aching, and she started to complain about how tired she was. She touched her head to see what was causing the pain. When she touched it, she could feel something there, something very big and heavy. She raised her hands to see what it was, but the more she raised her hands, the more the bags stacked up. It felt like she was carrying a mountain of weight. She looked around, searching for a way to understand what was happening. Luckily, she saw a mirror in the distance. She quickly walked toward it, hoping to see what was happening. When she looked into the mirror, she was shocked. On her head, there was large bags stacked neatly, almost like bags of cement. They were sealed tightly, and the worst part was that Each bag had a tag with a word on it. The words were heavy and full of pain, sickness, hatred, unforgiveness, malice, setback, frustration, and there were many more. The bags were piling up, one after another, all with these negative, heavy words. The worst part was that she couldn't take them off. Bimbo tried to remove the bags, but no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't. She could feel them when she touched them, but they wouldn't come off. They felt like part of her. She struggled, pulling at the bags, but they were stuck. She couldn't get rid of them. It was just as if she was trying to get rid of herself. The weight on her head seemed unbearable. She kept trying, but nothing worked. As she struggled, she heard a familiar sound, the sound of her own voice. It was her voice from an old video, the very first video she had ever posted that had gone viral. She was talking about the wigs, advertising them, just like she had in the past. Bimbo was curious and followed the sound of her own voice. She walked towards the source of the sound, wondering what was happening. To her surprise, she found a group of girls gathered around, watching the video on their phones. They were arguing and excitedly talking about who would buy the wig first. They were praising the hair, admiring how beautiful it looked. Bimbo came closer to them, feeling strange and unsure of what was happening. She walked through the girls as if she were a ghost. They couldn't see her. She moved silently through them, watching them from a distance. As she gets closer, what she saw shocked her. She could see demons, dark, shadowy figures surrounding the girls, hiding in the video they were watching. The demons were everywhere and they seemed to be part of the video, blending in as if they were invincible. Bimbo couldn't believe what she was seeing. The demons didn't stop there. One by one, the demons began to enter the girls. Each time a girl watched the video, a demon would enter her. The more the girls watched, the more demons went inside them. It was as if the demons were multiplying, never ending. No matter how many entered the girls, there were so many of them, and yet more kept appearing. Unable to look away, she was stunned. So is this how her video got viral? She asked. Why are demons entering these girls just because they admired her wigs? The scene felt unreal. The demons kept entering the girls, filling them with their dark energy. And still, there were more demons around her. They were everywhere, filling the space like a dark cloud that wouldn't lift. Just then, one of the demons noticed Bimbo. It turned its head and looked straight at her. At first, Bimbo thought maybe it hadn't seen her. But then, to her horror, the demon stared directly into her eyes. It let out a terrifying scream, and Bimbo jumped back, startled. The demon's eyes were dark and full of malice. In that moment, everything seemed to freeze. She didn't know what to do. The fear was overwhelming. And just as she was about to react, everything vanished. Bimbo woke up, her body drenched in sweat. Her head was pounding, and she felt an intense pain all over her body. She sat up in bed, confused and terrified. The images from the dream were still fresh in her mind, and she couldn't understand what had just happened. She got up slowly, still feeling weak from the dream. Her body hurt as though she had actually been carrying those heavy bags. She drank some water, trying to calm herself down, but her thoughts were racing. What had she seen? What did it all mean? She couldn't understand it. The dream had shaken her, and she couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. She paced around her room, trying to make sense of everything, but no answer came. The feeling of fear and confusion stayed with her, and she couldn't sleep anymore. She didn't know what to think or how to move forward. All she knew was that the dream had been more than just a nightmare. It felt like a warning.